hear that, I popped my hip. That hurt, but it felt good. Reminds me of a story. When I was in school, my teacher, we were learning animation and visual effects, and my teacher was describing how to do squash and stretch, and he was just he was being very expressive and just kind of flowing with his body, and he was just talking. He was walking across the. He was walking across the. He was walking across the front of the of the He was walking across the front of the room, and he was just being he was just talking, and on the final point that he made, he was talking, and on the final point that he made, he stopped, and he was like this, matter of fact, this is how it goes like this, and he was just talking, and when he stopped and went like this, he put all of his weight on his hip, and his hip, he was just standing his hip kind of how you kind of just fall on your hip, you're just talking, and it's matter of fact, put all his weight on his hip, and I was sitting in the back of the classroom, and you could hear it was bah! You could hear the boom, you hear a massive pop in his hip. He's like, oh, did you guys hear that? We were laughing in the back of the room. We heard it, we heard it echoed. He's like, bah! He's like, oh my gosh. He's like, I think I'm gonna go sit down. He's sat down in his chair at the front of the room, and he was demonstrating to his animation and visual effects and squash and stretch, and he just he just his hip just he just made his point and landed on his hip, and it just made this no, massive popping sound. It was oh my god, it was so funny. It was oh my god. I remember that was one of the funniest memories in school. And it didn't hit me until later on how severe that pop was, and we could hear it all the way in the back of the room. It was and the back of the room was about maybe 30 feet, 30 feet from the front of the room, but it was still close, but it was loud. It was what? It was hilarious. It wasn't concerning. It was it wasn't concerning he broke something, but it was just funny. It was it was you could tell that it was painful, but it wasn't horrible bad. He was I think I'm gonna go sit down. It was hilarious. He was one of my favorite teachers. He was an animator. He's a visual effects artist. He was one of the he was probably one of the best animators I've ever seen. And by best, the best animator I've met. It's funny. His name was Eric. He was a good teacher. I love Eric. He was one of the best. One of my favorite teachers. He was funny. And he kept it real. He was cool. He didn't give you oh, I'm gonna feel sympathetic for you and I'm gonna give you a passing grade. It was he'd bust your chops and make sure that you earn that passing grade. He's I want to see more. He's oh gosh, okay, I'll do my best. He's I don't want the best, I want more than the best. It's okay, I got you. I'll give you what you want. He was professional grade. I really like him a lot.